Welcome to Manga Experts. We are back with another top 10 recommendation list. If you like our videos, please leave a like and subscribe for regular updates of our videos. Without any further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Blade Note. The main character is a high school student. One day, his high school is attacked by terrorists and they start killing people like they are playing a game or performing some sort of a ritual. The main character is the only one who survives that massacre. After seeing the deaths of so many of his class fellows, the main character becomes delusional. One day, he was about to commit suicide, but he receives a katana. The main character's feeling of guilt will wash away as long as he's holding the katana. After a while, someone tells him the information about the terrorists who attacked his school, and they are not normal terrorists. They are the richest and corrupt people from different fields of life. This manhwa is super awesome, especially the fighting scenes are marvelous. The main character is overpowered from chapter 1, and seeing him slash airplanes and stuff in half with a katana always feels satisfying. The only problem with this manhwa is that it got axed, but it's still worth the read. Number 9. Mage Again. Rangder Kösel, the greatest mage of the land, sacrifices his life to seal the King of Destruction, Perseidis, in 6 sacred relics. The relics are distributed among 6 different hands to be kept safe, and once again, peace is restored. However, when someone begins to collect the relics to resurrect the demon, Rangder Kösel awakens from a 600-year slumber as the boy Ranghe. This webtoon has a lot of potential. All characters are well fleshed out and feel like they are part of this world. The author has done a very good job with its world building. There's also some tragedy in it. The art is decent during normal scenes and becomes gorgeous during fight scenes. The story of this fantasy webtoon is very unique in many ways. There are twists and turns you never expect. The main character is overpowered, but his personality is okay-ish. He's going through a lot of character development, so I think he will become more better later on. This webtoon is criminally underrated and a must-try for all fantasy stories fans. Number 8. Crime-Digging Brother. Zhang Peng is a prison guard. He was suspended from pay when the yellow magazine was confiscated from prison and the prisoner hanged himself. The yellow magazine contained a notebook full of unrecognized criminal records. Based on these criminal records, Zhang Peng made a visit and uncovered the truth about his father's murder. So now the main character has to investigate by himself and find all the criminals one by one. This manhwa has comedy, action, and a thrilling story. The art is nice on the eyes and the fight scenes are quite good. It gets a little bit dark later on, so only try this if you can stomach a really dark story. Number 7. Death Wish Covenant. Minho is a fish out of water at his prestigious school. After getting beaten to a bloody pulp by his classmates, he has reached the breaking point. He needs protection or he's done for. Lucky for him, a mysterious man, Kang Woo-hyuk, happens to be in the right place at the right time. These seemingly vastly different people both have what the other needs. Woo-hyuk can be Minho's bodyguard, and Minho, he can provide Woo-hyuk's death wish. There are 2 main characters. One is very smart, while the other is physically strong. The whole society they live in is rotten to the core. The fight scenes in this manhwa are quite good and can get brutal sometimes. The overall story is also good, but it's more lean towards the dark parts of our society. Only read this if you can stomach a lot of depressing moments. And don't worry, it's not gay. Only the main thumbnail of this manhwa looks a little bit gay. Number 6. Green Blood. The end of the Civil War signaled the start of the Industrial Revolution in the United States, and immigrants from all over the world traveled to find their American dream. But what awaited the majority of them was poverty, discrimination, and hopelessness. Manhattan, New York was full of immigrants flooding through the ports, and the 6th District, 5 Points, was considered the world's worst slum at the time. Luke Burns was an honest and righteous teenager who realized that the mob was the cause of their harsh lifestyle and that joining the mobsters would not bring him the American dream. But his older brother, Brad Burns, had become an assassin for the biggest mob group of 5 Points, the Gravediggers, and he kept it secret from Luke for his own protection. Brad was known as the Grim Reaper, and his reputation preceded him as a ruthless and skilled killer. The author of this manga has also done many other good works like Rainbow, and he tries most of the time to include a story based on historical background and add fantasy into it. This time, he made the story on the Wild West type theme during America's initial days. He depicted Wild West, poverty, and the essence of that time very well. He made sure to tell people a story of his own, plus the real events that happened in that time. The art is good, but it can be a little bit rough around the edges because it's an old manga. Other than that, it's quite good. Number 5. Heresy. 1,000 years have passed since the Battle of Primordial Chaos. Shaman bloodlines have become thin, and tyrannical demon beasts mostly hide off in remote mountains. The realm now belongs to humanity, and it is filled with countless conflicts. Heretics descend from mountains to join the troubled world. They excel at subduing ghosts and sealing devils. They control spirits and souls alike. They are feared and respected in this world. Society calls the teachings of the soul-controlling sect, which captures and forms contracts with soul beasts in exchange for power, heresy. For Mo Lianjin, a young disciple who lost his parents while he was little, ascending within the sect is difficult, especially when his childhood friend, the prodigy, Lian Bei, is always picking fights. One day, Mo obtains a fragment of a legendary sword, rumored to have been owned by the sect's last master swordsman. This manhwa is unique even for cultivation genre fans. Its art is black and white in the style of a manga, but you will get used to it once you start reading it. Number 4. Origin. The year is AD 2048. Japan is connected to the Eurasian continent by a transcontinental railroad. The capital, Tokyo, has become a crucible of criminals and terrorists. And so, in the metropolitan darkness, a mysterious presence attacks and slaughters people, unnoticed, night after night. These things are not humans, but something else inside the skin of humans, and there's a person called Origin who faces them. The story of this manga is top-notch, and it's written by Boichi, who gave us some pretty awesome mangas like Dr. Stone, Sunken Rock, and Hotel. The art is also good as usual, and fight scenes really pack a punch. The best thing I like about this manga is the personality of the main character. He's a robot, but he tries to mix up with humans, which leads up to some really funny moments. The pacing is also good, and side characters are also written very well. Number 3. Sekiro Side Story, Hanbei the Undying. The Sengoku era is a time when losing a battle meant losing it all. The Sword Saint, Isshin Ashina, aims for world domination. That is, until he encounters a certain samurai. This short side story tells us of some events that happened before the actual game takes place. Hanbei the Undying is a samurai who's immortal and wanders from battle to battle. He arrives in a village which is being targeted by bandits and gets a little bit of help from the locals. In order to repay them for their kindness, Hanbei decides to get rid of their bandit problem. But the more he gets involved, the more he realizes that this is not just a mere bandit problem, but more supernatural things are going around that village. This manga is really a gem for those people who have already played Sekiro, but those who have not played it will be left on a cliffhanger in the end. The story is really good, and the plot progresses at a nice pace. The art is really nice on the eyes, and fight scenes are also very well portrayed. This is a must-try for every samurai-type fantasy manga lover. Number 2. Reincarnation of the Veteran Soldier. Sergeant Kim passed away 3 days before his discharge from the army. He was suddenly told by a goddess to go to another world, but Sergeant Kim couldn't believe it and started to make a mess. He was soon punished to go to the new world naked with no skills. It's now the start of a tearful survival story from a soldier's perspective. After reading the first few chapters, you'll feel like this is just another isekai manhwa with the same plot point. But after a few chapters, the real plot kicks in and shit hits the fan. This manhwa has many really good twists and turns. All characters have a unique personality. The art at first looks a little bit janky, But it never holds back the awesomeness of this manhwa in any way. It gives a little bit similar vibes to FFF Class Trash Hero. There's also some really good comedy in it. Overall, if you want a really unique fantasy story, then I highly recommend you guys to try it. Before we get to number 1, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Bilibili Comics, where you can find all of the chapters of the next manhwa for free. I'm sure you've already heard of Bilibili Comics before. Still, for those who haven't, it's an online comic reading platform where you can read hundreds of free comics from different genres like action, adventure, fantasy, cultivation, and many more. So, make sure to check them out. The link will be in the description below. Number 1. A record of a mortal's journey to immortality. The village boy Han Li was born poor. To subsidize household expenses, he joins the Sichuan men's sect. Because of his spiritual roots, he was accepted as a disciple by the mysterious Dr. Mo and started to practice Chang Chung Gong arts under his mentorship. Although his qualifications are mediocre, Han Li embarked on the dangerous road of immortal cultivation with his unyielding will and a mysterious vial he picked up by accident. This cultivation manhwa is on another level. Every single character in this manhwa is memorable. The main character is not your average, arrogant, all-knowing main character from other cultivation manhwas. He makes mistakes and learns from it, and he has a lot of character development. The villains in this manhwa are not brainless dumb idiots. They use their brains well. They are some of the best memorable villains. Every single character has certain level of depth to them. The art is also pleasing to the eyes. The story is also pretty nice. The translation is also top-notch. This manhwa is even recommended for beginners in this genre. Do you agree with our picks? Check out our other videos for more suggestions, and don't forget to give us a like before going. Until then, take care and we will see you in our next video.